Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How you doing today? Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I believe there is an affordability crisis out there. There's not enough affordable homes for homeowner occupants and now renters. Lo
Yes.
and behold, Matt, the lumberjack landlord, is going to buy a 3D printed house. I think this could be the answer. So he's going to give us all the dirty deets about what he is doing, and I'm going to live vicariously through him. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing awesome. Let me save you thousands and thousands of dollars of consulting fees and aggravation.
Awesome. Let's do it. So I guess we'll start with, when did you start looking at a 3D house and a printed house and why? And then we'll get to what you're doing now.
Probably a little over a year ago.
Okay.
A little over a year ago. Because so Mike, like we talk about all the time, with our story, but mine was, I always look to add value to something. And I didn't, I was having the opportunity on a land deal here and there, and I just couldn't add any value. I'm not a developer. I'm not a builder. I'm not a guy that, I have no relationship with concrete guys, largely speaking. And so I said, well, what's the next step? What's the next thing?
Right.
And the buildable house thing, the folding house, the unfolding house, like I get it. Like it's kind of a neat idea, and I'm sure it will work in some areas. For us, we're just in a much tougher spot being in New England. We can get 100 inches of snow in a winter.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And sometimes like 20 at a time, which really sucks.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it's the worst. But the crazy thing is that, so I was looking at it and I started looking at alternatives and then started doing a lot of my research. And so, Mike, you and I are kind of nerds deep down on the inside, and so we're just kind of like looking for the next cool thing and then starting to do research. And at the time, there were not many videos at all.
Yeah.
At all. But really, there's kind of, it's been being done overseas for years and years. There's development companies out of Denmark, out of the Netherlands, that are doing a lot of stuff and also Germany, out of stuff and doing stuff in Africa. There's been a lot of building like that done. Because they can actually create it's called a cement slurry. What that basically means is that it's not just a regular cement pour, it's additives that they add to it. And so they just do a really good job of basically assessing the local environment to understand what your mix needs to be before they actually will put it into the different machines. But then now there's been so much as specialty to now organizations are building the machine. They design the machine, they design the software, they build the machine, and then they don't sell it. They become a developer.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there are a couple places in the States that that make product, and one of them is Icon Technologies. They're actually out of Texas. The other one is SQ4D. They're the ones that did one in New York. Nice product. SQ4D and Icon's machines. I think SQ4D just released their pricing, and they're between $850K and 1.1 million
for the machine.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Not cheap.
Not cheap.
I started to have to redo my math. I was like,
what?
Oh yeah, well, that thing might be like 250, 300. And it was like 4X. I was like, yeah. But they're kind of the second wave, if you will. And then they all have different, I guess, use cases, if you will. Because, they actually will build it on. So one company will actually build it on a track where the actual printer slides back and forth on a track and then actually printing it out. And it prints out about an inch tall and about 4 inches, 3 to 4 inches across. There's an inner wall and an outer wall. And then there's sometimes conduit or connectivity between the two. But the really cool thing is that you can pour or print an entire house in a couple of days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can do it with 3 guys.
Yeah. So that's essentially kind of the walls and the foundation, right? You still got to put on a truss and a roof and all of that.
Well, so that's what that's what the market's looking at right now, which is, you can throw a roof on there, and you talk to roofers, and that's something that they can build.
Oh yeah.
When it's already there, that's something that's a week, and they can have you completely roofed, and boom, now in 7 days you're now walls up, roof up, weather tight.
Right, exactly.
In 7 days or 10 days.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
So when you were looking at this, because I think you're actually looking to buy one, like you're physically gonna be the first. Lots of people are looking at this. I don't know anybody that's bought one, right? So where are you out in that stage? Because you're looking to put some, you're looking to own one of these bad boys.
I am. I'm looking to own one that hopefully isn't like the first inkjet printer. We're in like 6 months, or like, this thing sucks, we're going to buy something else.
Yeah.
So we've gone through the evaluation process with 3 different companies. One of them literally could not get off the phone with me fast enough.
Really?
I literally had to stop them and say, wait a second, I'm about to spend $1 million.
Right.
And it's not even $1 million of my dollars, because I don't have $1 million. I'm about to go get a loan for $1 million, and they don't finance these machines.
Okay.
They need to be paid for them, because most of them are startups.
Yeah.
Most of them have small amounts of capital.
Sure.
Not a ton of capital. And so it was amazing to me. Like, the guy couldn't get off the phone with me fast enough. And I was more than a little bit shocked. The other company, I filled out 9 contact me forms and emails, and I still have not gotten a call back from them yet.
Oh, wow.
Still. And so I started looking at some of the ones overseas, and they were super responsive. They were awesome.
Interesting.
The guys overseas were fantastic. So Cyba, and it's spelled, I think, Cybe, but Cyba or Cbay. And then the other one was Cobod, which is the one doing the project that Greg Dickerson saw.
Okay.
Cobod's the vendor for that.
All right.
The things about those machines is, what you have to know is, the newer ones, the kind of the US versions, and those companies are making those machines far easier to maneuver around the job site.
Okay.
Cobod, it's 2 to 4 ton cement pilings that have to go down into the ground.
Oh, geez.
You then set up the printing structure on top of it.
Okay.
So you're days into setup, but you're half the price. You're about half the price. Their stuff to do what we were looking at, which is, we want to help affordable housing. We believe the biggest affordability issue is in single family homes that are, 1 bedroom, that we can get people kind of used to living in those 1 bedroom homes. And then it's a couple, and then they're like, okay, yeah, we've had a house, there's value there. Then you can sell it and roll into and get another house.
Get on the property ladder, right?
Exactly. Get you on the property ladder, that introductory. And that kind of, because that's where I think the chasm is right now in, high-end rental versus house, is that there's just no inventory there. The payments about the same or higher in that big multifamily. We have a big property here in where I live, and they've got their 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's about 1,500 square feet. It's $3,500 a month.
Jesus.
And it's like, imagine what kind of a house that would get you. Crazy. The big thing is, I think the biggest myth is that it's not this build it for $6,000 or $8,000 worth of material. That's such a bunch of garbage. It's absolutely not that. I think you're probably going to realize in your first, I'd say 1 to 3 buildings are going to cost you more than it would cost you to stick build.
And why is that?
That's the time.
Okay.
You're going to make mistakes.
Sure.
With it. You're going to have to fix those mistakes. No contractor that you're going to bring on site is going to understand what to do.
Yeah. They're like,
yeah, they're like,
that's different.
What am I even looking at? Right.
And so big thing here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that there's also going to be delays with towns that you're going to be working with, so I think that there's a huge opportunity, but I think that there is a massive misunderstanding that this is instantly going to cure. So I think that this is one of those things that this is a much longer term play in my eyes.
Yeah.
And it works really well so long as there's a huge shortage in labor for building houses stick build.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that this will continue to become a thing. The thing that I love about it is that basically the process is you get your thing set up, you get your printer set up, you get your stanchions in, you get your framing set up as far as the printer goes. Then you're working on an iPad.
Yeah.
And that's literally how you're building it. What's really cool is that after you get your kind of, excuse me, first few layers down, then you're putting in the conduit. So you're not having to do walls and 2x4s. I mean, really the only wood in your house is going to be your roof structure. That's about it, because everything else is just going to be concrete on the inside, and you can smooth it, you can plaster it, but it's putting in the conduit, and then you can run all your wire, and then it's putting in bottom sill plates and top sill plates for all your windows and your doors. But yeah, it's something that's very real. And literally you just have 3 guys who are able to kind of do all that work. One kind of managing the mix, one kind of managing the printing itself, and then one person at each of those stages kind of going around and putting the conduit in and putting the plates in and doing those other extra steps.
Wow. So do you think you sign a contract sometime this year and you get you get this unit next year, probably? Kind of where you're at?
That's the hope. Yep. That's the hope. We actually had a land deal that fell apart because road costs were absurd. Absurd. I'd done some road work in the past, but not much. And the road work this time around for a 700-foot road, 700 feet, I could not believe how expensive a 700-foot road was.
Oh my goodness. How much?
Take a what? Just stab at it.
$1 million.
Yeah, 750.
Oh, Jesus.
Think about this. It's
I was trying to be absurd. Yeah.
$1,000 a foot, Mike.
Yeah, that's pretty
for
crazy.
A road. Yeah.
Two lanes? Like
so wide enough. Yeah. So it has to be it. So city spec basically is yes, wide enough, because when you drive in, you have to be able to let people drive out.
Right.
So it has to be, bi-directional.
Wow. $1,000 a foot. That's expensive.
That's what killed the deal, because I could only get so many lots out of the property. Because I could only get so many lots out of it, I said, when it was all said and done, in a place that lots usually cost, like one-off lots, usually cost around 100 to 125,000, maybe 150, depending on if it's a nicer neighborhood, which there isn't a ton of that around here as far as like land to develop like that, where you're doing that stuff. This was going to put me at like 130 a lot without even clearing lots. That was just the land and the road. So there will be lots more coming on the 3D stuff, because right now we're looking for funding to buy the machine, because it's $1 million. I'm not going to buy $1 million up into that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's perfect use of other people's money.
Yeah, exactly. I will have partners in this deal. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Very, very cool. This is going to be fun to watch. I look forward to this evolving. It's maybe even doing a site visit once this all gets going. So
that would be awesome. Love to have you, Mike.
There you go.
So we're an hour outside of Boston.
I can fly to Boston. That's easy.
We're not in Seoul, Korea.
When I get there, just wear the orange shirt and I'll just go to the bright spot.
I'll blend in with all the traffic guys.
All right, buddy. How can people follow you?
Lumberjacklandlord.com and Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, buddy.